everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, Dan, the pandemic has affected us all in very strange ways. And
Is there a pandemic? Is that a thing?
and
I
one
hadn't
thing
noticed.
that has happened to other people
Yes.
during this pandemic is an increase in faith.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a survey that came out and talk about, like, faith as a thing that happens when we're messed up.
Yes, and something that hopefully happens to other people.
Yeah, not to us.
Oh, the day that I find faith, Dan.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's the day we get rich, you and I. If we can find faith,
Turn
We
the
just-
podcast into
that book deal it just falls out of the sky.
thank
The
God
second-
I'm not an atheist.
Right, yeah.
The
Boom.
podcast
Boom. We're suddenly so much wealthier than
with
we are
Frank
now.
and Dan.
We're pastors.
Wealthier. That's a funny phrase.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll be thousandaires.
All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Let's see. Something that happened this week. Let's see. Let me pick one.
Yeah, just find a thing.
I'll find a thing.
Just throw something out there.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
This one's actually a couple weeks old. At least the news of it is. And I failed to bring it up last week. I knew about it, and I don't know
Failure.
why I skipped it. But it's kind of funny to me because this is not widely known in Salt Lake City, but we have a new Mormon temple in the city.
What?
Did you know this?
In Salt Lake City,
In
Utah?
Salt Lake City proper, we as of the first, probably about the second week of January, the top brass of the LDS Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they dedicated the 8th floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building downtown as a temple.
Wow.
Because, you know, the big one, the iconic Salt Lake City temple, right?
Right.
Is
that-
under earthquake,
Proofing.
structural, whatever they're doing to it.
Yeah, they're refurbishing.
And they're taking the advantage of that time while they're doing the isolation thing, right?
What
I
is
actually
that?
found out the seismic.
Oh yeah.
Horizontal isolation, whatever thing.
They're literally digging
they're jacking
everything
up the temple. Yeah.
Yeah, they're digging out everything underneath it and like putting I think they're just putting it on springs or mattresses or something.
Well, it's this floating system, and the city hall has it, and the state capitol has it now. It's just seismic retrofitting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that historic buildings don't just come crashing down.
But the temple work must continue,
But-
because otherwise what would all the people waiting in heaven for their work do?
Get this, Dan. It's not for the general Mormon public.
Oh,
It's
of course not.
only for the top senior officials of the LDS Church, who had their own little private space
Oh yeah.
where they don't have to mix.
Oh
with,
yeah.
with the plebs.
With the unwashed masses.
Oh my God. Yeah. So they have like their own special part of the temple, and that they obviously can't use right now. So they spent $2 million.
Which is
To
chump change
remo-
in Mormon terms.
Total chump change, but can you fucking believe it? They spent $2 million for a temporary temple retrofit
Yeah.
in an office building, one of their office buildings downtown.
That's so funny. Lest anyone be worried, in the Salt Lake Valley and the very near surrounding areas, there are 5 or 6 other temples.
Oh my God.
Which is
Easy.
amazing because, like, you know, if you're in Europe, then maybe your country has one temple, but maybe they don't.
If you're in the rest of this country, maybe your state has one. Probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Salt Lake Valley has like 5 or 6.
Yeah, with like 2 under construction right now.
Yeah, the temple's for non-Mormons or for people who've never been Mormons. The temple is not like where you go to church. It's this other extra holy place where you go and do very weird ceremonies that are mostly boring and sometimes really creepy.
Yeah, and this article that I have from the Salt Lake Tribune mentioned some of the weird, creepy stuff that they need to be able to do as leaders of the church. Apparently, they hold a regular sacrament-type ritual, right? Which is just like the bread, the Eucharist, right? The bread and water that
only
the Mormons...
it's the Mormon version, so it couldn't be like wine and interesting crackers. It's bread and water.
Yeah. I bet they go over to walk over across the street to Harmon's.
Oh, they get the good bread
and get like some nice crusty bread. Or actually, more likely, they just get the rolls from the Lion House.
Oh my gosh, this is Mormon deep cuts right now.
Anyway, so they do that on the regular. It's not just a Sunday thing for them,
right?
Because they got to keep that Jesus energy high, right?
Jesus, yeah, you got to keep your Jesus flowing.
What better way than with bread and water?
Oh my God.
And then they apparently, as part of this whole ritual thing, they do a prayer circle. Which if Dan, you never got to do this because you never went and got your endowment.
I feel so deprived. It's so sad.
You should, because it's very, very, very special. It's typically done during an endowment ceremony, which is like the big special thing they do in the temple, right?
Right.
And you were dressed in your special temple clothes when you do it. So you have your like weird baker's hat on, a funky little green apron, and the rest of it's all white and roby. Yeah. And
you look like a villain from a very bizarre cartoon.
You really do. And the way you do the circle, if I remember right, the person next to you like do this little handshakey thing, and then you put your other
right foot in, you put your right foot
seriously right, but you put like your left arm, or you put your other arm on the person's shoulder or something. I can't remember how it all.
You got to hold one arm to the square. They're really into holding an arm to the square
with your elbow on the shoulder of the person next to you, and it's apparently, according to the church's own website, it's an ancient and universal symbol of perfection, which I did not know.
It's just Masonic rituals. Joseph Smith was a Mason, and he just ripped off Masonic rituals.
Absolutely. And then the Tribune pressed the church, the spokesperson, on whether or not, because they asked a very important question, which I wouldn't have thought of, which is, so you just dedicated this special temple for the higher brass to do these things in. Are they social distancing and wearing masks?
Love it.
And they refuse to answer the question.
Of course they refuse to answer.
Because they're not.
Totally not.
Oh,
no.
My God. Because they're putting on this big show for the public that they're all masked and safe, and they're doing all this social distancing at church, and like the wards aren't all going every week together, and all that kind of stuff. And then the higher ups are just flaunting it. They're old men.
When you're important, those kinds of rules don't apply.
I love it.
When you're wealthy and important, you don't have to worry about that kind of shit.
Right.
All right. Well, I'll keep us in the region for my story. It's not good. This is bad.
Okay.
Everybody who was rejoicing that the Democrats narrowly took the Senate and still have the House by a hair's breadth, and now we got Joe in as president. Do not forget that there are still states, and those states have have their own governments, have state governments and whatever, and those guys are bullshit. And I'll talk about two examples of that. Now, we've talked about Project Blitz before, and the fact that, one of the reasons that it was so important to get conservative, like crazy conservative judges into the federal courts and onto the Supreme Court was because they wanted to pass abortion laws and overturn Roe versus Wade and get an abortion ban going. Well, the way that they have to do that is to pass abortion laws at the state level that then have to be taken to the Supreme Court, right, when someone inevitably challenges them,
right,
the constitutionality of them. Well, here's the story of two such abortion laws. One in the state of Arizona, our neighboring state, where where Representative Walter Blackman and 9 of his GOP compatriots have decided that they're fronting House Bill 2650, which would, if it passed, may charge any doctor willing to perform an abortion with homicide. That's right, homicide. So
Jesus Christ.
That's where they're at in Arizona, even though this is illegal and decidedly so, and it has been decided for like decades. It's a legal procedure. No, they're gonna do that. But lest we get too snooty about our neighbors to the south here in Utah, Utahns could be treated to a fun little new bill. Or Steve Christiansen, which if that name sends shivers down your spine, it should, because that name is too Mormon for anything good to be coming out of it.
I think Spencer Christiansen would probably be more, slightly more Mormon.
Anyway, this guy is he is a turd and a half. Anyway, he has put forward a new bill that would say that women seeking an abortion, people seeking an abortion, would need to watch a video created by the Utah Health Department that would show ultrasounds of a fetus throughout the development, and then visuals of what an abortion does to a fetus.
Oh my God!
And he's playing it this way. This is delightful. His quote in the Utah paper, the Deseret News, is just a peach. Which is he's mystified, frankly, that anyone would have any problem with this. He says, abortion, in my opinion, is probably the only significant medical procedure where some groups, for whatever reason, believe that appropriate informed consent is burdensome.
What?
To be clear, we're not talking about informed consent. I'll go on with his quote, and then we'll address it. Quite honestly, we go to great lengths with regard to other medical procedures to make sure that those who are about to participate in the procedure know exactly what's going to happen, what the likely risks are, and so forth. I honestly don't understand why there is pushback on informed consent when it comes to abortion, which he's being so disingenuous here. He knows, because I'm sure he's had to have plenty of colonoscopies. And they still haven't gotten it out, whatever it is that's rammed up there. But
they should make him watch a video.
You don't
about
make
colonoscopy.
Right. If you're
is that what he's saying?
Right. They need to make him watch. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If he ever has to get,
here's a video
we'd
like you to watch about open heart surgery.
Yeah, you have to watch a whole procedure. So because you can't know about it if you haven't watched a video about it. It's obviously.
Oh,
anyway, there you go.
Asshole.
Women may get to be, and here's the thing. Basically, the law would say that the woman has to declare that they've watched that video.
Right.
Feel free, ladies, to lie on that front, because that's some bullshit.
Oh God. All right. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
This last what would it have been? Wednesday was Holocaust Memorial Day.
Ah.
I did not know that. It came and went.
You didn't celebrate?
Sadly,
you didn't observe Holocaust Memorial Day?
No. However, this story is about a group of Jewish community leaders in the UK.
Okay.
Who decided that they were going to shift the focus of this year's memorial to the ongoing, now declared genocide of the Uyghurs in China.
Oh, okay.
Because our government, Pompeo or whatever his name was, on his way out, he declared. He was the former U.S. Secretary of State, for those of you who don't know, Mike Pompeo. He was with the Trump administration. And on his way out the door, he declared that China was committing genocide.
He pulled the pin on a grenade and threw it back behind him as he left.
And the incoming Secretary of State, by the way, has confirmed and is on board with that definition.
It's 100% that.
Yeah.
Pompeo should have said it. The Trump administration should have acknowledged it years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But, okay.
Yep.
They just wanted to make a mess for the next guy.
Yeah.
Which it is a mess, but, they were going to declare it that anyway.
Right. But the Jewish community in the UK is putting pressure on the British government to go along with that definition and to start to take whatever action I guess is possible. I mean, it's China, for Christ's sake.
Well, you can you can do sanctions.
There are things you can do. Yeah. But anyway, I
think that's amazing.
This is wonderful that they're taking this stance. They said in a letter to the Prime Minister, they said, as a community, we are always extremely hesitant to consider comparisons with the Holocaust. However, there were similarities between what is reported. This is no longer sort of perfect. This is the paraphrase. But they're saying that there were similarities between what is reported to be happening in China and what has happened what happened in Nazi Germany in the 1930s and 40s. They're, of course, urging Boris Johnson to take action, saying that the Uyghurs' human rights were shaping up to be the most serious outrage of our time. And for those of you, we started talking about this, I don't know how long.
Years ago
at this point. But for those of you who may not know what's going on, the Uyghurs are a Muslim minority group in
Western China,
in the Xinjiang region. And they have been about 1 million of them, more than 1 million, have been sent to these re-education camps where things like, where was the list of atrocities in this article?
I love a good list of atrocities.
Yeah. Where they face starvation, torture, murder, sexual violence, slave labor. And here's the kicker. This is what caught my attention initially. Forced organ extraction. And yes, and China, euphemistically calls them re-education camps.
Yeah, they're training centers so that you can learn a new job.
Right.
Isn't that nice? They're just teaching them how to do another job.
Yeah.
They're also employable.
Former detainees, people who've made it out and to the West, have claimed that women have been forcibly sterilized as well. The Chinese government is essentially also very much trying to they're trying to wipe the Uyghur culture off the map.
Yeah, they're just trying to make Uyghurs not exist anymore.
Well, and if that's what it's going to take, then that's what they will do. Yeah, there have been really horrifying things. I mean, this list is horrifying, but when you hear the details, when you hear the stories that are coming out of China, it's really, really awful. And I love that the Jewish community decided to do this.
I think that's really powerful.
There's some. It is unbelievably powerful for them to take the opportunity and shine the light to another group that's facing extermination. And it's I don't know what the West is going to do and how we're going to do it, but something has to be done. Like,
something does have to be done.
China is rough.
Yeah, it's messed up. It is messed up. Well, on that note, I'm going to take us back stateside to here where a new poll has come out, a new study has come out. You love a good study, a good poll.
Oh, yes.
And this is a study from Lifeway Research, which is a Christian research organization.
Yeah.
They asked their pastors a really interesting question. This is a study of pastors.
Oh, okay.
And they asked people, I think, is it just pastors? I guess it's just pastors, no priests. They said, quote, they asked them to agree or disagree with the following statement, which I have to move closer to my screen because it's in tiny, tiny, tiny print. It says, I frequently hear members of my congregation repeating conspiracy theories they have heard about why something is happening in our country. Now, so that's I frequently hear.
Yeah.
49% agreed with that statement, which means that this isn't a Facebook/Parler problem. This is a everybody's repeating it in church problem.
I would say that it's not only a Facebook or Parler problem.
Oh, obviously, yes. 100% true.
Like, I know you really like Facebook, Dan, but
oh no, it's poison. Believe me, I get it. It's just mine isn't. But
you're right.
But yeah, I mean, I look at it's fascinating. So literally half of these pastors agree with that statement. What this doesn't take into account is that the other half may just be saying, no, I don't hear conspiracy theories because they don't recognize those as conspiracy theories. They think that they're the truth. We got Pastor Greg Locks out there thinking that it's actually the truth and that what you're hearing from CNN is a conspiracy theory or what you're hearing from NPR is a conspiracy theory.
To specifically ask, do you hear your parishioners talking about QAnon?
Right.
Do you hear them talking about this? Do you hear them talking about that?
Right, specific things.
Right. If they phrased it as conspiracy theories, they...
No, man, all we talk about is the goddamn truth. And I'll tell you what, that truth is that the Hollywood elites are trafficking in children.
And killing babies.
To eat their adrenochrome. So, but no conspiracy theories, no. Yeah, so it does break down interestingly. White pastors are more likely to agree with that statement than black pastors.
Okay.
Black pastors only came in at 36%. Male pastors are more likely than female pastors by a significant margin.
Really?
And I think that's fascinating.
Probably a more liberal congregation, right, that has a female pastor?
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point. Also, who knows? Maybe people are more willing to share their nutball theories with a man than with a woman. Maybe they're like, probably shouldn't tell her.
I don't know. There's some real nut job women in the whole
there
QAnon
are. That's
thing,
true.
So,
hey, Pastor Karen, guess what I just heard?
She's like, oh, I beat you to it. I love that one.
I'm one told you that.
I followed the breadcrumbs all the way. Breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs. Okay.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you said
crumbs. I did say breadcrumbs. And so that's why I said breadcrumbs.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. All right. Dan.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of crazy pastors
with I love a good crazy
congregations and crazy theories, Tony Spell. We know that name, right? The Life Tabernacle Church down in Louisiana.
I hadn't heard that name before a pandemic hit, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he has been top crazy preacher number one, in defiance of state orders to not have like giant church services, right?
Right.
And he's actually being held accountable for these. Charges have been pressed for violating, anti-congregating orders, and all that kind of stuff. He's facing 6 criminal counts. So his case went before a district judge asking for these 6 criminal counts that are, being charged against him to be dismissed, and the judge denied the motion.
Right, because you're a criminal,
right?
And we don't just dismiss criminal charges.
He basically, the judge said, because they were saying, that the constitutionality of the state order was, just a complete violation. The constitutionality was in question, and this, that, and the other. And the judge is like, no, actually, the state's order has already been decided. The courts have ruled that it applies equally to churches, restaurants, stores, and other public spaces. So, you broke the law, sir. But here's the funny part about this whole thing, which is, let's see. So upon hearing the judge's decision, he said, you just ruled against God. And the article says, Spell said outside the 19th Judicial District Court, get ready for the judgment of God. And it was interesting. This is important. He was outside because he couldn't be inside the court at the time because he was refused to wear a mask. He was joined by dozens of supporters.
Oh, you
who
fucking
were
idiot!
Also not wearing masks.
Right.
They were waving their American flags and all wearing T-shirts in support of free breathing.
What is I have been looking at this thing since this pandemic really hit us, and I still don't get their argument.
I don't know.
What is the argument? Is it that it's a hoax? Is it that masks are somehow oppressive? Because it's really not. You really can't make that argument.
I know. Because if it was just one thing, if they were okay, yeah, we're having our church services, but we're going to wear masks and la-di-da-di-da-di-da, right? We're going to be safe. We're going to have a hand washing station, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they were then in defiance of the rules because they feel like they have the right to congregate, in God's name or whatever. I'd be like, well, okay, they're deranged, but at least they're making some sense on some level, right? They believe that this is something that they have to do.
It's worth risking your life for.
Risking it, right? But instead, there's this denialism. They refuse to wear masks. They refuse to do anything.
I don't think they know
decent.
what their argument is.
And it's just they love to argue that it's the First Amendment issue, which it's not. The courts are just like, no, it's not.
Right.
And it's
they're just I honestly don't think that they could articulate an argument if they needed to. I might be straw manning them here, but I don't get it. I've tried. Yeah. I tried to figure out what your argument is against masks.
I think
it's literally just trying to prevent the spread of a virus.
I know. I think what happened is they started down this road before they thought it all through.
Right.
And now they have no choice.
And now they're stuck.
They're
with
just stuck.
Either they have to admit that they were wrong.
Yeah, which they're a group of super stupid conservative Christians, right?
Evangelical
admitting them that
dipshits.
They're wrong about something.
Yeah, just not going to happen.
No way is that going to happen.
They're just locked in. All right. Well, I'm going to close us out with some decent news, I guess.
Decent
which
news?
Is I like this story. I think it's heartwarming. I don't know if you remember this, but a little over a week ago, our president was still Donald Trump. And he was an awful, awful, evil man, and is still an evil man, but he was a terrible president. Anyway, one of the things that he did was try to deport pretty much everybody that he could find that had brown skin, and give carte blanche to the agency known as ICE here in these United States to just harass and harangue and make life horrible for a bunch of people that secretly our economy depends upon. So a bunch of people here in these United States, in order to avoid being deported, have sought sanctuary in churches like this is, 16th century France. And that has been the case for a bunch of people, including Jose Chicas, who has lived in the United States, raised children here for 35 years.
Wow, yeah.
If you've been in this country for 35 years, fuck it, you're an American. Like, come on. What are we even talking about at this point? This is a 55-year-old man who has been here for 35 years. It's insane. So he has been literally living and never leaving a house next to a church that's technically part of the St. John's Missionary Baptist Church in Durham, in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. He's just been hiding there for more than 3 years, like three and a half years.
My God.
So if you think that you've been locked up during this pandemic, this pandemic has been nothing for him, because that's where he's been just having to chill to avoid getting deported out of this country and away from his family.
Oh, my God.
Well, since the Biden administration has taken over, a memo has gone out. The Department of Homeland Security has put out a memo outlining a 100-day pause on deportations. With the exception of those who are suspected of terrorism or espionage.
Sure, okay.
Or pose some other kind of danger,
Right.
So, violent people, that doesn't count. But a guy like this might be able to fucking leave the church. Like, walk out of the building is what I'm saying. I'm not saying stop believing. I'm saying actually leave the church for the first time in 3.5 years.
My God.
Isn't that crazy?
I my heart goes out to him.
I just don't, I can't believe that that's still a thing.
I know.
Seeking, I mean, if there's one thing, at least this is a case of a Christian church using its insane amount of privilege in our society for a nice thing.
Yeah, because they're not using some legal thing. This isn't like some, state law or federal law that's like, oh, you have to respect a house of worship and you can't, well, you got us, right? Oh, you got inside of a church, so we can't do it. We can't arrest you. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
This is this is not the 16th century France.
This is just does the government want the PR nightmare of raiding a church and pulling a guy out of it? And so far they haven't.
I'm surprised that they were fine with that.
I'm surprised too. I will say this: ICE has been horrific in the past, especially in the past 4 years. They are a rogue agency. They are awful, awful, awful.
Yeah.
So they have done stuff like tell people, look, we've actually got a hearing for you. Come into the office. You'll be safe. And then they bait them into leaving the sanctuary to come to their offices and then quickly arrest and deport them. Like that's who ICE is. The Immigration Control. What are they? I don't even know what it stands for.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah. They are literally just a brute squad. So anyway, I feel like that's a good story. That's a nice thing. Hopefully, hopefully this might turn into a country that actually like doesn't have human rights violations, at least not on the scale that we should be, that other countries should be sanctioning us.
Right.
So that's nice.
It is. It's so nice.
There you go.
It's just heartwarming, in fact.
If you guys feel heartwarmed about that, please feel free to write into us about it. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up. Hey Dan.
Yay.
We're going back to this Hank Kuhneman fellow. We played him last week, and he's just such a nice guy.
Here's the thing,
and
the reason we played him last week. Here's why we're following this guy is that he prophesied, that Donald Trump would get his second term, was definitely going to win the election in a landslide, all that nonsense, and it has just been nothing but delightful Schadenfreude ever since.
Right.
And he has more to say about the subject now. So yeah, let's listen to what that says. What that is.
God hates 6 things. Are you ready? 7 are an abomination. Number 1, a proud look. Number 2, a lying tongue. Number 3, come on, abortion or hands that shed innocent blood. Yet you thought it was okay to vote for him. And a heart that devises wicked imaginations, and yet you voted for them. It's obvious their wicked imaginations on how they want to destroy this country. Feet that are swift in running to mischief. It's amazing how quickly they signed their executive orders. That's called feet that run quickly to mischief. And then all the lies that happen and false witness that we've had to put up with since 2016 on the news. But notice something. God hates what? He didn't say he hates discord. He hates he. He hates you that are being a troll. He hates you that are attacking your Christian brothers and sisters. Yeah, but they're false. They're wrong. Excuse me. How do you know? Because it hasn't come to pass. How do you know that it hasn't come to pass? First of all, the president was reelected. Let's get that clear. Second of all, he was given a second term based on reelection. Well, he's not serving it now because it was stolen by thieves.
I'm pretty sure he was pointing directly at us, Frank.
I know.
He was you.
I felt singled out. I did.
When we were trolling him. You know how we were just trolling him?
Trolls.
By accusing his prophecy of being somehow in some crazy spin of thought incorrect.
I mean, it is amazing because like they have to believe the big lie.
Yeah,
they have to because and he gets to be a prophet as long as his congregants believe the big lie. So he's always going to promote it because otherwise Trump wasn't reelected.
Right. Which
it's brilliant. It's terrifying, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, and I do love just the concept is if you call me a false prophet just because I got it wrong, God hates you. And that's delightful. So wonderful. Well done, Hank. We appreciate it.
Yeah. He's a peach.
We had some folks write into us. Let me pull that up. John wrote into us and said, "Dear Frank and Dan, Thanks for the most recent episode on the Biden inauguration, and just wanted to share a few thoughts of my own. The Battle Hymn of the Republic, we talked about that, Frank, you'll recall.
Oh, yeah.
Is an abolitionist song, but is overburdened by flowery religious language and declaration. It was written during the Civil War and gave full-throated expression to the righteousness many felt about the cause of ending slavery and preserving the Union. Fair enough. That doesn't mean I have to like it, though. Okay. Still 10 times too Jesus-y for my taste. Also, just flowery is a good way of saying. Anyway, John goes on, I feel like Obama did more than Biden has so far at extending recognition to non-believers, but I'm willing to give Joe room to grow. I also happily contributed to the Georgia runoff campaigns of Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. I definitely have more political alignment with a pastor like Warnock and kindly black church ladies than I do with churlish libertarian a-holes like David Silverman, who just so happen to also be atheists.
Right.
Or white supremacy minimizer and anti-Muslim bigot Sam Harris. Woo! We're going after the big dogs here. Anyway, all the best, John. I feel you. There are plenty of atheists that I am not on the side of, and that is that's because we all get to have nuance in how we assess the universe. We don't have to see things as black and white and sort of zero sum. So there you go. Zach wrote into us, hey, love the show. Last few days I've been so angry at religious people with all the pushback to Biden's executive action about LGBTQ rights. Then today, I posted on my Instagram story about the transgender military ban being lifted and Cindy McCain being censured by the Arizona GOP for, among other reasons, supporting gay marriage. And basically, I just said that the GOP is homophobic. I had a relative reply to me saying, the party isn't homophobic, and either way, it's not like LGBTQ people are even discriminated against. They're fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I, Zach goes on, a bisexual, replied with a list of discrimination / offensive things that have been said to me, including going to a therapist who was supposed to help make me straight, being told my attraction to boys was just Satan tricking me, being called gross for liking boys, being told LGBTQ people should be kept away from kids so it doesn't rub off on them. Yeah. Being told LGBTQ people are destroying America, and having a Mormon bishop tell me bisexuality isn't real, it's just because I'm horny and want to have sex with as many people as I want, and that if I keep being bisexual, I'll eventually get into bestiality.
Wow.
That's a good one, man.
All slippery slopes.
Yep, that's the old TGIA maxim. All slippery slopes lead into a animal. My relative replied with all the discrimination he, a white conservative Mormon, has faced, including being called homophobic and transphobic. Oh no, did someone call you that, you poor thing? And being called a religious freak. He was kind enough to let me know that even though he faces discrimination too, it doesn't mean he's had a harder life. We just have, quote, different battles to fight. Then he went into how conservatives are being discriminated against because they are being kicked off of Twitter. Oh. He finished off by saying gay people were trying to take away religious people's rights, and how if I want a wedding cake in Colorado, I can just go to a different baker. So pretty much, I'm just writing to ask everyone to pray for the white Christian conservative men in their lives. I know that I, as a former white Christian conservative, will never know all the hardships they face every day. It must be so hard to try to discriminate against other people and not be allowed to.
Oh, it's
the
worst
Zach.
kind of discrimination.
It really is.
My heart goes out to them.
Can there be anything more painful than a white person getting told no for no apparent reason that they can see, other than just what they're doing is hurting other people? It's just so hard. And finally, M wrote into us saying, "Hello, Frank and Dan. I'm an atheist living in Nigeria, a country where almost everyone is either a Christian or a Muslim, so definitely not in the majority here. I grew up in Christianity, although only my mom is Christian. My dad's an atheist, but he's never been emotionally present in our lives, so most of our upbringing has come from my mom, which I believed until about 10 months ago when I decided I had had enough for many reasons. I was listening to your most recent episode when you mentioned Christians and empathy." Yeah, they're good at that. That really stuck out to me because I grew up being told and believing that atheists were arrogant, evil, and needed to be saved. And my dad didn't exactly serve as a contradiction for that argument. So when I found myself becoming the very thing I had been taught to hate, it made me hesitant to let go of my Christian identity. It also made me question why Christians and religious people in general believe this. Upon seeing a tweet from a Christian saying atheists don't think rape is objectively bad because they have no moral code to live by, it finally made sense. One problem I've had with Christianity for a long time is how people who claim to preach love and peace can be so judgmental and cruel. I live in Nigeria, so I've seen some of the worst of Christianity. And boy, if our reporting is anything to go by, yes, you have.
Yeah.
Conflating morality with religion has to be one of the worst lies religion has sold people. So being able to come out of that idea and work on genuinely being good to other people has been a blessing. Anyway, I love the podcast. It's helped me not feel so alone in my atheism, and
Nice.
I look forward to it every week. So thanks so much, Em.
That's wonderful.
Keep fighting the good fight out there in Nigeria, and we wish you the best. Let's see. Now, we don't have anyone to thank today, Franklin.
No, because we're going to be doing this in a new way.
We're switching things up a little bit.
We're switching things
So
up.
don't get freaked out.
It's mainly a technical reason. Patreon has a nice little way of keeping track of who we've thanked and who we've sent thanks, like actual things to thank them and all that, because that's all possible, right?
Right. We have been doing it manually, and we haven't been using their system.
And so we decided to use their system just to keep track of everything. And so it's going to be a little bit easier to thank everyone once a month. And so that's what we're going to do. So
don't if you don't hear your name after you signed up for Patreon for a few weeks, don't panic.
It'll happen.
We'll get to you. Thank you so much. If you would love to hear your name be thanked by us on this show, just for the low price of giving us your money, you can do so by going to thankgodimatheist.com and find the little support thingy, and that'll take you to the Patreon, and then you sign up at however you give us however much you think we deserve. Probably give us a little bit more than you think we deserve, if you can afford it. Otherwise, look, if you can't afford it, the thing's free. This is just if you can afford it, and you appreciate what we do. We certainly appreciate it when you give. And I think we should thank one person, though.
Indeed, Dan. As always, we have our top donor, our Lord and Savior, Dallas. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
So lately, I've noticed sort of a wellspring of an emotion I haven't known for years coming up from within, Dan.
Uh-oh. You're straight. Oh, no. Faith. Okay.
No, even worse, Dan.
It's even worse than that. Oh, God. Please, no. Oh,
but apparently, some people who've just been kind of like, a little casual, maybe, about their belief system, this pandemic has rocked them to the core.
Maybe. I'll tell you. So, yes, what we're talking about here is a Pew study that came out. And what and sort of what what they asked about was how your faith has been affected by living in this pandemic.
Yeah.
And for the most part, vast majority in all of the countries that they checked said their faith hasn't changed that much. In the U.S., for instance, the segment of people for whom the faith hasn't changed that much is 68%. Now, that's actually smaller than all the other places that they checked. Like Denmark, 97% said their faith hasn't changed much at all.
Right.
Sweden is similar. Anyway, in the U.S., it's only 68% that hasn't changed much. 4% in the U.S. say their faith has gotten weaker, which I feel like that number should be higher.
Yeah, but that's the right direction.
That's the correct direction.
When the systems around you are failing, right?
Yeah.
When clearly we're like
when
nature is conspiring against you, why do you believe harder? It doesn't make any sense.
But it's what's happening, especially in the U.S., where 28% of people say that their faith has gotten stronger since the pandemic.
Now, see, okay, I guess
That's
I kind
called
of
a double down right there.
I know. I kind of presented it wrong. It's not that people who weren't believing, that there's now more people believing.
Correct. That's true.
It's that people who already believed are saying they believe more stridently. More firmly.
Yeah, a little more strongly. So there you go. It's a weird thing, and I've been sort of processing what to make of that phenomenon. And I think one of the things that we have to sort of think about is what the fuck religion does for people. And one of the main things that it does is offers sort of some answers, some comfort in times of great stress, in times of fear, in times of sorrow, in times of isolation. The church purports to offer you comfort. Now, that comfort comes from them just lying to you, which seems like it should be less comforting. But then, they present it like it's the truth and everything. So that's just, I don't know, man.
Well, it also comes with this like smug sense of superiority that also, that's nice too, right?
Oh, sure. Like, you can buy into that. It's delicious to feel like secrets that the rest of the world is just so, and it's sad really that they don't know, but it's nice that you know it. It's quite pleasant to know this, the real truth about the nature of the universe. I just think, one way to look at it is these people are actually getting some comfort out of their religion. And I think that that's actually true for a lot of people. But there's another way to look at it, which is that the religions are preying on people at their most vulnerable. They are, they do offer something, but they're also like, hey, the cost of this is 10% of your income or whatever, which is not insignificant. And it's one of those things. You and I were talking earlier about your mission, and when you went on a Mormon mission to Italy, and were trying to find converts, and what they told you to look for in a potential convert.
Well, yeah, so there's the missionary handbook, I can't remember what it is. It's for anybody out there who served a mission, you'll remember the one. It's we called it the White Bible, and it's pocket sized, right? So you can put it actually in your shirt pocket, right? And it has all sort of like the rules of being a missionary, and also then there's like some smart tips and whatnot on how to be a good missionary and
how to do the hard sell for the Lord.
Anyway, so there's a list, and it's like 20 some odd items long And it's the most effective ways of finding new converts, right? To Mormonism. And it puts them in order from who are the most likely people to join the church, all the way down to the people who are least likely, right? And like the top 5 are like all people who have like experienced some terrible loss in their life and who are grieving,
right?
And so it's like they're telling, at least when I was out there, they were telling us, go find people who just lost a loved one. That's the best person. That's the most likely person to join the church.
If you knock on someone's door and they're like dressed in all black with a veil over their face, you have struck gold, my friend. That is a gold mine. Start digging, baby. Woohoo! Eureka.
Funny enough, didn't work too well in Italy, but
yeah, you were kind of. I mean, it's like a Catholic trying to convert people here in Salt Lake. You were in definitely the wrong part of the world.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so there's some truth to this whole thing of like that when there's hardship, when we're down, that's when we need. Obviously, that's when we need comfort, right? That's when we need help, and that's when we need others.
We need community. We need need people to rely on, and we need to know that we're going to be okay.
And if that's something that's been lacking in your life, or you feel like it's been lacking in your life, when hard times come along, I'm not surprised that people are like, "Oh yeah, faith. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I feel closer to Jesus."
And it's funny because you hear pastors, you hear church leaders all the time saying, "Oh, you evil people, when times are good, you don't come to church. You only come to church when it's hard." And it's like, yeah, dude, you designed it that way.
Yeah.
So, it's, you know what I want, you know what I've just now decided the takeaway of this segment should be?
What's that?
We need to provide more community and comfort for each other as an atheist community. We need to find better ways to do that. I know that there are a lot of groups out there that are actually quite good. The TGIA Members Only Lounge does that all the damn time. It's so fucking amazing to me. People reach out to strangers on Facebook and say, "I am having a hard time. My religious dad did X, I just suffered X, a loss of some sort." And I see wonderful people just rallying around that person. And none of it's thoughts and prayers. It's all like genuine concern and just support.
That's nice.
So we need more of that.
Yeah.
We need something to replace the church with, because fairy tales are just they can be comforting, but it's just not. It's all a lie. So that's like, less great.
Right.
It's just less great.
Well, and that's actually a really, really great point, though. Like, and one that I hadn't really thought about in that way for quite some time, probably. But just this idea that, like, there are obviously a lot of atheists who are alone in their atheism, right? A lot of we know this from our listeners. We hear this from our listeners, right? That they don't know many other atheists, or they don't know any other atheists. And we need to create some kind of outreach, because I think about my life, and I wouldn't turn to faith for anything at this point,
right.
but I've got some pretty solid atheist friends, right?
Yeah.
And my husband's atheist, and his mother is, and
right.
so like we've got this like really good, and all of our friends are,
right.
And I just sort of realized right now how much I've grown to take that for granted, that like,
not everybody can build that for themselves easily.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the other thing that we have learned.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
No, I would say, for anybody out there, I think Dan has really good advice. Seek out, here's one thing we can offer, the members only lounge. But I would say also, like, email us. If you've got nobody else, like, good gravy, You got
us.
You got us.
But here's the other thing. I promise you, even if it feels like nobody else in your area could possibly be an atheist, you're the only one in your region of Alabama, you're not.
Yeah.
There are more.
Yeah.
So seek each other out.
Yeah. Be a support for each other.
Find ways to support each other. Be a port in someone else's storm, and vice versa. It's all online now anyway because, we can't go out anyway. So find people who aren't in your area.
Yeah. No, it's true.
The support exists.
Absolutely.
Anyway, there you go. We don't. I'm glad to be rid of church, but it is sad that some people aren't getting the support that they need. So there you go. If you guys have advice for people, any ports that you want to make people aware of, places for people to go to get that support, write into us. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com. Let us know about it.
Or you can always call us and tell us about it with your own voice.
Yeah.
The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah. Hey, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click the like button. That's the first thing to do.
And also on Facebook, there's the Members Only Lounge, which we were just talking about. You can find it most easily by going to thankgodimatheist.com/members only.
Yeah.
They'll take you right over to it.
That'll take you right over there. Don't forget that we also have a good Twitter feed at TGIAtheist. Thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their fine music.
And a big thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks to all of you, dear friends, for tuning in.
Bye-bye.